The mega powers explode, brother. It's Rumor and Innuendo, and it's Friday. I'm Dominic D'Angelo of SEScoops.com, adfreeshows.com. But I'm here with Robert Karpelis, WE Creative _ish. Robert, what a Friday, man. We got some good stuff to talk about.
Happy Friday. Excited to end our week here today with what's going to be a stacked show. Looks like we're going to be talking a little bit of Backlash France, a little bit of Seth Rollins re-signing SmackDown, and more. But we'll say hi to some of the folks here in the chat. Christopher Zanto, good morning and happy Friday. Y'all good rumor folks. Mike Malaro, happy Friday, you working stiffs. I see what you did there. We'll get to that. And Mitchell Kokerites, I didn't say that right, but who cares? Long-time listener, first-time watcher. Kokerites, look, I get it as someone whose name is always butchered. And Travis Wadlow, who says, I'm here to campaign for Dom on Working Stiffs. All right, we'll start it out here. The big breaking news story of within our tiny little world is Wrestle Roast, the podcast I've been doing with Dan St. Germain, Mike Lawrence, and Scott Chaplin, has gotten a name change. We are now known as Working Stiff. The first episode is, oh man, Dom got the graphic up. First episode is up now. Dominic D'Angelo is our intrepid producer. We changed the name, even though the show, you can take the graphic down. I don't like seeing Vince in that weird get up anymore. But yeah, no, we changed the name because the show, for a while, we were doing roasts. Mike Lawrence and Dan St. Germain have written for a number of major Comedy Central roasts. Mike Lawrence won roast battle on Comedy Central. Scott Chaplin was actually on it. And we were doing weekly roasts that then became monthly roasts about a variety of different wrestlers. And quite frankly, the volume of jokes that we were writing for it caught up to these guys. They are professional comedians. They're touring. They're on the road. They're writing major TV shows. Mike Lawrence, not that I'm divulging too many major secrets here, has been helping with the Tom Brady roast that's going to be on Netflix. So, plug for those kids over at Netflix. But we were like, you know what? The show just kind of turned into talking about wrestling, but being the not nice people to one another in the most entertaining way possible. And it's a great show. It's basically our group chat come to life, and we're glad that Dom is on it. We're glad that you guys check that out. We're glad you guys are here today. We only got 30 minutes. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, Dom. Where are we starting?
Yes, we have Backlash this weekend in France. Bonjour. And we have a lineup.
You with the cultural appropriation accents.
Right.
Like you get super Italian all of a sudden. And now
those dialect class from Clarion University have been paying off for me.
Well, you are a master thespian.
That's it. We'll see who's the master thespian here on Backlash in France.
That none of that made sense. And I'm willing to go with it.
It didn't, but let's go with it.
Is the show officially called Backlash France?
Yes, I saw the logo and it just says Backlash, and then underneath it in little tiny font it says France.
Goofy name. Yeah, let's so SmackDown is actually occurring right now.
Yeah.
As we are recording this at noon Eastern, if you're abroad, and I know we've got a lot of listeners internationally here, you may be watching SmackDown live while you're watching our show. No spoilers.
Nope. We don't do that here.
We're not going to ruin the show for you. I'll be tuning in live tonight.
We ain't scoops and spoilers. We're Rumor and Innuendo.
Scoops and Spoilers, by the way, great name for an ice cream parlor.
Yeah.
We missed our calling. So anyway, SmackDown. Yes. Weird tangent to start our show.
Right.
You know what it was? I had to do career day this morning.
That's right.
And it was a middle school career day thing. My wife was like, oh, you got to go do this. I'm like, fine. And I thought it was like you're standing up and talking to them. You're at a table, and these kids all have bingo cards. So they just have questions on these papers that they have to get answered, but they're not smooth and slick like us transitioning into a Blue Chew ad. Yes. So they just come running up to you just to ask you the question and then run away. And the very first question I got asked, kid just goes up, how much do you make? I go, what? He shows me on the thing. It says like the salary range for your position. I'm like, dude.
That's not the question, man.
Yeah. So And the most inappropriate thing was I turned to the person next to me. I'm like, it feels like speed dating because they're just rushing up to you. But when you say you were speed dating middle schoolers, you get put on a list.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want
Threading the needle here. SmackDown.
Yes, SmackDown. I don't even know what's going on SmackDown. Actually, I just have the Backlash lineup.
So SmackDown tonight. I think the one thing I saw that was announced is Damage Control against Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi. Damage Control teaming up with Tiff.
Ooh, Tiffy time. Uh-oh, Robert is frozen. Am I still here? Who can you hear in the chat, everybody? Let me know. Can you hear me? Can you hear Robert? Can you not hear either of us?
Am I not here?
You're here.
That was weird.
Yeah, it was like a really long freeze there, though.
That was strange because I saw you, heard you, was talking. Anyway,
okay.
6-woman tag. Am I still here? Can you hear me? Am I alive? Am I a ghost?
You're here. Uh-oh, what's going on?
This is weird.
Wow, we're getting Dom was there. All good.
Dom was there. We're all good now. I don't know what to tell you guys. There are contractors working on the house, so maybe they did something somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, this match seems like a good opportunity for Tiffany Stratton and the Kabuki Warriors to get a win, since I know we're going to get to predictions for Backlash in a little bit. But I have a feeling that Tiffany and Kabuki Warriors not going to be super successful tomorrow. So giving the heels a win tonight makes the most sense.
Yeah, and I think you just want to keep having that momentum with Tiffany Stratton, just piling up the wins, and you get them against like Bianca Belair and all that stuff. It's just good further storytelling going on here, as we lead into the Backlash. But yeah, what do you think of the card? Ultimately, there's not a little. I don't think we're gonna get any jaw-dropping moments besides maybe a surprise appearance from the recently reportedly signed Jacob Fatu, perhaps. But other than that, outside of that, it's like the matches that straight up the wins losses. You may maybe go down the line and just pick them and be right, Robert.
And that's okay. You know, I know we've said this before. Vince had a thing about trying to surprise the audience for the sake of a surprise. Right. And narratively speaking, that's not always very satisfying. That was sort of a Vince Russo approach of, bro, you don't want your audience to be able to figure it out. But it's wrestling. That's okay. I don't know if you've ever heard of Hulk Hogan. There's a popular wrestler.
Talking about him in the text.
Popular wrestler in the 80s. When he would wrestle, he would, hit a big boot and a leg drop, and it worked for like 7-8 years, and everybody made a lot of money. So going into a show where the results are as expected means narratively you've constructed a really strong set of stories. So Cody not losing his first title opportunity against AJ Styles, Damian Priest not losing his world title to Jey Uso that quick into the title reign. That one's the only one where there could be, if they wanted to pull a quick surprise, just because if Priest loses because of the bloodline, then he's got a separate story to go to. But it would really damage his credibility if the only match that he really had was beating Drew McIntyre in a few seconds, and then all of a sudden he loses his first big match. They've put a lot of time and effort into Priest, so I don't think we're going to see a title change there. The title change I think everyone is expecting would be the women's tag titles.
Right.
I think Bianca and Jade Cargill, because this now allows Jade to be on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great point. Yep.
That increases her value exponentially. At the same time, I think some of these matches are just going to be really entertaining. I'm personally excited to see Tama Tonga and Randy Orton mix it up.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's the name of the game, guys, is you're getting a lot of really fun matches, but you're getting a lot of fresh matchups you never really thought you were going to see. I think Tiffany Stratton's going to look like a star. It's an international show, so that crowd should be pretty rabid. We'll get a preview of it tonight for SmackDown, but because it's a taped show, since they're taping it live now, they'll be able to go in and sweeten the audio a little bit just in case. Not that they ever did that when SmackDown was taped. We had
I would
nothing
agree
but
with
the
that.
utmost integrity, and we just aired it as is.
Yes.
But hypothetically, theoretically, maybe you tweak those dials a little bit. It sounds a little better than what we heard from the Dynamite crowd in Winnipeg.
A little bit, maybe a little bit there. Yeah, no, I'm excited for the card itself. It looks good. Into what you were saying, it's just like doesn't really. I mean, good versus evil has been told since the beginning of time. When it got Aristotle, all that stuff. I mean, I know that's not the beginning of time, but it's quite the leap. But
Only a wrestling podcast, by the way, where Aristotle is coming up.
yeah, but you have so the outcome is not necessarily as big as what these characters are going to come into play and how they're all going to interact with one another, win, lose. We'll get some good stories tonight and or on Saturday or whatever.
We'll get some good stories. I think it's nice that you're getting a chance to see things that for the WWE long term are incredibly important. First and foremost is Jey Uso. Jey Uso has been called main event Jey Uso. He's been positioned really well. This is sort of his first major match and feud outside of that opportunity he had with Roman Reigns. You knew you were going to get a huge crowd reaction for that because it's bloodline story. Everything it touched, gold. But this is now Jey Uso as a solo babyface going into a completely separate storyline as a challenger. You're on foreign soil. And if Jey Uso can seem like an international star, then his promo a week ago where he's like, hey, we're next, it's true. Because he gets crazy crowd reactions, Dom. And if you can build one top tier babyface in 2024, this is already a year that is paid for itself.
100%.
I know Cody Rhodes had talked about there were comments that Paul Heyman had made, and you put this in a rundown the other day, and we didn't have time to get to it. But Heyman basically said because of Cody, they've ushered in the new era of the earnest babyface.
Mm-hmm.
So Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn are all beloved baby faces, not ironically, not because they're shades of gray, not because it's a Steve Austin style baby face, but because these are guys who follow the rules, guys who kiss babies and shake hands. The crowd is still really, really into them. And the hardest thing to do, Dom, is to build a baby face.
Yeah, and you know what? I would make the argument too right now that Jey Uso probably has a longer babyface lifespan than Cody Rhodes at this juncture. They got to work really hard to keep Cody fresh and have that the promo delivery and how he kind of handles himself in certain ways. They got to elongate that and make him as the champion, that guy, that Hulk Hogan that you want to keep going to. I think Uso has that, he's still fighting from underneath in a lot of ways and still kind of cutting his teeth. And like you said, too, this is like his first big major title match. So like aside from the Roman Reigns storyline stuff, but him going into this with Damian Priest, it's kind of setting a table for like, hey, we want to see Jey Uso's story now in comparison to Cody Rhodes. And you have that.
Exactly. You're taking the journey, and then eventually he will be a rock solid main eventer. And guys, if you're looking to be a rock solid main eventer, can we recommend our friends at Blue Chew? This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex. Guys, remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Visit BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Guys, you know when it's time to yeet, you want to be on your A game. I'm assuming that's what yeet means.
That's
and
what I
Blue
thought.
Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RUMOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RUMOR to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this Backlash France edition of rumor, an innuendo.
Yes.
I don't even know if that accent at the end was French or just creepy.
Right? A little bit of both. Hey, Seth Rollins creeped in a new contract with WWE there, Robert. He has resigned.
I don't even know what that just meant. But
I don't
speaking
know.
of creepy accents, I signed a new contract.
Hey,
Becky, get the pen. Yeah.
come on.
God, that voice. His later in life calling as an audiobook reader.
He would be a great Snidely Whiplash in a live action film, I think.
Ah, that is like a Blue Meanie level deep cut right there.
Right? How
I'm
about
impressed.
I also used what terminology did I use earlier? I can't remember. Some were concerned about the ticking clock on Rollins' WWE deal, though, Robert. But he has signed terms to a new contract. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.
Oh, you mispronounced your best friend's your Biffle's
That
voice
was
name
a term
there.
of endearment when I mispronounced your name, Robert. I hope you realize that. It's noted that the mindset was that they're not going to let him go. The 37-year-old's new agreement will keep him in the company until his 40s, Robert. Man. So
You're not going to lose Rollins. Seth has made such a name for himself in the WWE. He's made a home for himself. He's become a top tier star for them. He main evented a WrestleMania. He kind of got the things that he was looking for out of the company. And yeah, he's gonna stick around for a while. Becky will stick around for a while. Drew, we know, is now staying in the fold. So they are locking down their current crop of main eventers while that next level starts to elevate. I think there's a lot of really exciting talent that just got called up from NXT. Top of the list would be Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes. Really excited to see where they're able to develop. But when you know that you have Seth Rollins locked up and you have Drew locked up, you have Becky locked up, Rhea, when she comes back, you've got her for quite a while. You can invest in this younger talent and have confidence at that main event level that the audience is going to get what they want. AJ Styles is 91 years old, and he is main eventing a PLE tomorrow, and it's probably going to be the best match on the card, and he's probably still, in a lot of ways, in his prime. So I want to sit under his learning tree for in-ring stuff, not for whether or not the earth is round.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like AJ Styles, he's a perfect example of keeping guys around and like this established talent. So somebody who's not resigning is Ethan Page with AEW. He is done.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Good.
Done with the company. According to Fightful Select, Robert, Ethan's Page 3-year tenure with
Hey, Dom, who runs Fightful Select?
Oh, Sean Ross Sapp.
Man, we love that Sean Ross Sapp. I feel like you don't even need Blue Chew. You just need to say Sean Ross Sapp, and you're just ready to go. Creepy. Anyway, so Ethan Page, keep going.
Yes, his 3-year tenure with All Elite Wrestling has come to an end, with his exit said to be a formality at this juncture in time. Page was removed from the AEW roster page on Thursday, May 2nd, fueling speculation that his time with the company was up. Fightful Select does report that the word on both in and out of AEW was that he was no longer there and that his exit was indeed a formality. Wow. Robert, when he signed, there was just a lot of stuff on the table of what he could do for AEW. Like he really cut his teeth, grew his star power and kind of an identity for himself in TNA and Impact, as a member of a tag team, but then as a single star. And then this felt like a new beginning for him. I think he's another perfect example of wasted talent in AEW, Robert.
That's why I said good. I am a big Ethan Page fan. I enjoyed what he did in TNA. I like the fact that he wanted to up his game physically, get himself in different shape. Really stepped up in terms of his presentation. His in-ring work was always very solid, and AEW just didn't really do anything with him. So I would love to see him wind up in Orlando. I want to see him in NXT. I think we've seen where when the Undisputed Era went to NXT and you had Adam Cole and Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, they were able to work with that younger talent and really help those guys. I think Ethan Page is someone who, in the NXT world, very capable hand, very entertaining guy, someone who would work well under that Shawn Michaels model. And then if the opportunity arose for him to wind up on the main roster, I think there'd be plenty of chances for Ethan Page to show what he can do. really talented guy. He will absolutely find another place to go. It again demonstrates the challenge that AEW has of not establishing concrete brands.
Yes.
I used to hate the brand split with the WWE, but in AEW, I think it would let them focus. If you knew Ethan Page is a Collision guy and you're going to go book that show, you know you need some form of Ethan Page representation every week, whether that's a match, a promo, a video package, something, so that you know this guy is being used. And if you notice 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row, he's not represented at all, you reevaluate how you're using that guy. Can we tweak his presentation? Can we tweak his character? Can we use him in a situation where we were not thinking of putting him in before? But to let a talent like that just go walk out the door and ignore him, I know he was doing stuff in Ring of Honor, but honestly, if a tree falls in the woods and it lands at a Ring of Honor ring, no one's going to see it.
True. And it keeps you honest if you have the distinct brand split where, hey, this is where this person is, this is where that person is. But yeah, I am just, it really speaks to the level of like just missed shots with another talent. And in turn on that, it kind of also speaks to, hey, there is not really a huge incentive aside from a huge contract maybe that you might get if you're a big enough star. There's not a huge incentive to really sign with AEW right now when it comes to like, if you have options. You know,
I think, if you're it's an unfair comparison, but it's a comparison I'm going to make.
You're not doing the Tony Khan one on NFL Network, are you?
No. We don't do that here anymore. It's, if you look at the presentation of Kazuchika Okada and the presentation of Tama Tonga, Okada, we all know one of the all-time greats in there. They have not done anything on AEW programming to solidify that. They're just telling you. With Tama Tonga, he came in and they've shown you this guy is dangerous. This guy is unpredictable. He's out of control. They've let him interact differently than everybody else. He's scared Paul Heyman. He drew blood from Kevin Owens. He's now going to be working with KO and Orton on a PLE. They're very conscious at the WWE of how they're presenting talent right now. And AEW, if you go out there, you bust your ass like Swerve said and put on a great match, there's not necessarily a reward.
Yeah, no, there isn't. And we talked about Ethan Page. I could see him, get implemented in NXT. He's a talent. I would make the argument you could easily just put in the main roster at some point right now. Like
you could. I mean, the main roster right now, it'd be a little tough. You could always find a spot for him. I think NXT going into the CW launch that's coming up, not the Billy and the CW launch. That's something separate. We'll get to
that's too hot
later.
To handle.
That's too hot to handle right now. But as far as the CW goes, you want to have as many reliable names and big surprises and moments as you possibly can. We saw Shawn Spears return and pop up in NXT. So these are all things that can definitely happen going into this new version of NXT. What other new developments do we have, Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes, Johnny Ace has an ace up his sleeve, guys. Mr. Laurinaitis has corroborates.
Don't give him the respect for Mr. Laurinaitis.
This is a quote. So this is a quote.
Is it from Sean Ross Sapp?
No, it's not. It's I believe this is from his attorney.
Sean Ross Sapp's attorney?
Yeah. Well, Sean Ross Sapp is his attorney. No, I'm just kidding.
Good Lord.
Mr. Laurinaitis corroborates.
What was that name?
Laryngitis? Laryngitis?
Mr. Laurinaitis.
Larry.
Hey, I got a very important thing I want to say.
Hey. Mr. Laurinaitis corroborates Mr. McMahon in publicly declaring that Miss Grant's allegations of sexual abuse and coercion in her complaint are completely unfounded. My client will fight these false allegations together with Mr. McMahon in the proper form, arbitration.
Yes.
Quite the pivot, Robert, from a previous.
Yeah. So Laurinaitis tried to position himself as being a victim. And very few people are going to look at that with a straight face. No one is going to say that Mr. Smithers was being coerced by Mr. Burns. So that's a little difficult. The arbitration argument that they are both trying to make is that gets pulled into a private room. That gets pulled into a back. That's legal kayfabe. How's that for So you're not airing all the dirty laundry, because who knows what she's going to say about John Laurinaitis. None of us want to hear it. You're thinking it now, and you can't unthink it. And I'm sorry.
Brain.
Yeah. So good luck being able to eat lunch. But it's the worst transition ever, and I don't care. If you are excited to eat lunch, not because of Laurinaitis, but just in general, because hey, it's almost 12:30, guys. We want to talk to you about Factor. Eat stress-free this spring with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from a weekly menu of 35 options, including popular options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie. Also discover more than 60 add-ons every week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks, and beverages to help you stay fueled and feel good all day long. What are you waiting for? Get started today and fuel up your springtime goals. I know tomorrow I'm going to be tuning in for Backlash France, and I'm not going to want to have to move from the couch while I'm watching. I can step away for 2 minutes, pop something in the microwave, eat it, and know that I'm eating probably the best meal I'm going to have all week. These are no fuss, no mess meals. They're genuinely delicious. There's tons of different options. No matter how picky an eater you may be, you will find things you're going to love. So head to factormeals.com/rumor50 and use code rumor50 to get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next box. That's code rumor50 at factormeals.com/rumor50 to get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next box while your subscription is active.
Wow. I am hungry, Robert. Man, Factor will satisfy those needs.
Yes, we're hungry for Factor. Dom's hungry for Sean Ross Sapp. I'm hungry for what our last story is going to be to wrap up the week, Dom.
Wow, could it be? I think I literally wrote this one a week ago. Vince McMahon hires a PR firm. This is according to Post Wrestling. 78-year-old has enlisted the services of the public relations firm Sitrick and Company. The powerful firm, Robert, is led by Michael S. Sitrick, who has been referred to as one of the most accomplished practitioners of the dark arts of public relations by Fortune magazine, and a public relations puppet master who has pulled the strings behind some of the biggest stories in media, in an excerpt from the LA Times.
So, not quite the story I thought we were going to end with, but that's cool. We're here. We're at it. No, we're good. No, we're good, Dom. We're doing great. The narrative that this PR firm is going to craft, and this is the same narrative that their legal attorneys as we're done from Vince's legal team is going to craft, and they've already started to craft, is the notion that Janelle Grant was a starstruck woman who was in desperate love with Vince McMahon, and it was a relationship that was consensual, but ultimately came to an end. And this is a jilted lover. This is a confused woman. And now she's grasping at straws and coming up with salacious and sensational details to try to shock Vince McMahon into paying an exorbitant amount of money. That is what the PR firm is going to try to craft. And if they can pull this into arbitration, which means that we're not going to know any more gory details, and the PR firm can then go out and tell these stories of, hey guys, relationships are messy and tricky. And this thing, went south because of it. But can you really, hold Vince accountable because he had a bad breakup? These things happen. People say things in the heat of passion. But we all love Vince. Look, he's the guy who gave us the XFL and the WBF and Tuesday Night Titans. So
and Ico Pro.
And Ico Pro. Guys, come on. A generation of talent that grew up just taking that Ico Pro powder. Come on. That's literally what this guy's job is going to be. And that's the argument they're going to make. And you're going to start to see it. And you're going to see that narrative get pushed out there. And when you see the withered raw chicken face of Vince McMahon, you're going, yeah, how could you not fall for that?
Look at that cutie.
Don't pinch it. It'll fall off. He'll wither like dust, like Bram Stoker's Dracula. It sucks. You know what doesn't suck? Is yesterday last night I was on the X. That didn't sound right. I was on Twitter, X, whatever it may be, and I caught a little bit of you and Mr. Rob Van Dam.
That's right,
live.
I
got to see you. You were talking about Rob's high school athletic career and the number of students he graduated with, which is a crazy small amount. Like, it's nuts.
It
But
was nuts.
Great show, worth checking out.
We covered a lot of ground. We recorded last night live. Yep, it was live on rvdtv.com. It was live on Rob Van Dam's YouTube, and it was live on Twitter. But you have to now wait to see it Monday at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that's when we'll release it again. And we cover a lot of great ground on there. So some modern topics. We talk about Kevin Owens still wanting to wrestle Rob Van Dam, and a lot of different other things too, like Robert was talking about.
Wait, have they not wrestled before?
They've never wrestled before.
Holy crap. How is that even possible?
Right? They've never wrestled before.
I'd love to see that match. Sorry, that's my new takeaway. I want to see, we need to see Kevin Owens versus Rob Van Dam at some point.
Right. And guys, we also recorded live Greg Gagne Magnum TA. That was earlier in the day.
Love to see Magnum TA versus Kevin Owens.
Right. Holy smokes. Yeah, that would be something.
Wow, you caught yourself.
I did catch myself. We cover who did kill WCW. That's was a little bit of our main topic this week. So fun one. But that'll drop next Tuesday at 4horsemanetwork.com. So go hit that, check that out. Robert, we talked about it, working stiff. Good stuff moving forward, man.
Yes, the former Wrestle Roast, now working stiff, myself, Dan St. Germain, Scott Chaplin, Mike Lawrence, and our producer, Dominic D'Angelo. That drops every Friday wherever you can get your audio podcast. Same place you can get this show every Monday through Friday. Miss an episode, want to go back, listen again. You can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. And this show is live every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on WWE Creative_ish X, the Dominic D'Angelo X, Podcast Heat X, Podcast Heat, who makes this show possible, SE Scoops, as well as on YouTube on Rumor and Innuendo and ad-free shows. So on behalf of the floral print sensation, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpelis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Hey, everybody, we're all going to get laid.